Hi, my name is Denise Martinez, and this is my Teach Your Truth final project. There are so many different things I've learned this semester that I absolutely loved, and I have put everything that I've learned into a special place. That way, I can get to it easily when I need to and just refresh my memory of really important truths that I've learned, really helpful things and helpful skills that are so valuable. But the one topic that really hit home for me was the discussion about conflict resolution. One of the reasons is because recently I have been pondering this idea of um, opposition being an eternal principle. And I thought to myself, well, if opposition is the eternal principle, what does that mean? What is it going to look like when we are in this celestial kingdom and there's opposition? And it wasn't until this part of the class that I realized why this was so hard for me to wrap my head around. And I'll tell you why in a minute, but it started with Elder Uchtdorf's statement in the beginning. He said that conflict is inevitable, contention is a choice. Wow, I was so blown away by that for several reasons. One of them, probably the most important thing, was that conflict and contention were two different things. It never occurred to me before that conflict and contention were two different things. I always thought conflict and contention were partners. They were always together. And so I realized that's the same exact belief I was holding with opposition, that I was pairing opposition with contention also. And that was just not the right answer. Opposition is inevitable, but contention is a choice. And so I was so excited to learn that. But I was also really excited to learn how can we have these conflicts and solve them in a way that is loving and peaceful and where contention has no place. After the April 2023 conference and President Nelson spoke about peacemakers, I decided that I was going to do whatever it takes to be a peacemaker in all situations. I love that talk so much. And I just thought, wow, if I want to be more Christ-like, this is what I need to do. And but my solution was to totally avoid the conflict altogether. It never left me feeling completely good because there were so many important things I knew I needed to share. But in order to avoid the conflict, because I thought that's how we would avoid the contention, I would just keep my mouth shut. For example, I have a calling and there were a lot of different conflicts hitting us all at the same time. And because of this talk and because of my good desire to want to be a peacemaker, instead of speaking up, I just kept my mouth shut in those situations because I wanted to be the peacemaker. Now, there are some cases where we definitely should just keep our opinion to ourselves, but most of the time, it's important that we share what the Lord is putting in our heart because we are all an important piece of the puzzle to solving problems. In Philippians 2, verse 3, we learn that nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than themselves. So with that, I learned that we need to be careful of the self-esteem of the other person, but we also need to define the problem and work together to explore alternatives to solving it and create a win-win situation rather than thinking that a single person must win. So with me taking a step back and not saying anything, it wasn't a win-win situation. I was allowing the single person to win, who was the other person. And that is not peace either, you know? So, through these experiences, I have learned that God will help us see from a higher perspective. And as we take time to ponder and learn how He solves conflicts and solves problems, and lean on Him for advice and guidance, we will be able to handle differences in a Christ-like manner. He will strengthen us and help us as we reach to Him in prayer and effort. It doesn't require us to keep our mouth shut. He did not create us to sit back and disappear. He wants us to be an active participant in the gospel. I really love this link to Psych Central. It's a blog, and they had a post about what you need to do instead of avoiding conflict. They offered so many different good tips. The one, I'll just share one real quick since I'm running out of time. But the one tip I really liked is breathing deeply. Sometimes conflict can cause anxiety within us, and it is a good idea sometimes to just pause before acting. It's okay to express that you need a moment or more to process your feelings before responding to people. And I think that is just so important in any situation, whether it be at home with your family or at church in callings or at work or whatever situation you may find yourself. It's really important to practice pausing and saying, you know what, let me think about how I really see this, how I'm really feeling, and let me get back to you. Like, I'm feeling a little upset or uneasy about this situation. I really want to solve this. Let me have a minute to think about it. I think that is a better way to handle it than just completely keeping our mouth shut. Or the other end of the spectrum, taking complete control and not allowing another person to be heard. So those are the things that I've learned, and that's it. Thank you.